Hey everyone, Zero JD here with the XBLA Fans Channel. I'm here to make a kind of I wish I knew kind of starter guide for Subnautica. So nothing here is going to be like crazy in-game spoilery. It's going to be kind of stuff that, hey, if you're just starting the game, you kind of want to know and kind of want to watch out for. Most of this footage is just going to be me puttering around in the sea moss. I'm not going to go super deep or anything like that, but I might kind of point stuff out, but that's about it. First off, when you start in the game in your pod, there's actually a small, if you turn and look at the back of the pod, there's a small storage box in there. It's got some flares, food, and water to get you started, so make sure you don't miss that because I probably put about 5 to 6 hours before I went in the pod to get something, and like, hey, there's a storage pod in here. There's food in here, and it's like the good food and water stuff that fully will fill up your bars and all that kind of fun stuff. On the note of that, when you first start out, whenever you can grab metals, materials, anything like that, grab it. While you might think that, hey, titanium's everywhere, you're going to need titanium. Yes, there is copper, gold, silver, and stuff like that, and that will be needed for more advanced stuff later on. Comparing that to the amount of titanium you will need is negligible. So go as hard as you can with those items. On that as well, when you start making lockers and stuff, label those lockers, please. I have spent so much time just kind of digging around and through all kinds of stuff to find what I need, and I'm just utterly lost until I was like, hey, I'm going to put like actual names and stuff on these lockers. Early on, I also suggest that you make both the habitat build tool fairly fast and the scan tool, because early on scanning to get new material, new recipes and stuff like that, you have to scan them and collect multiple scans of them. And even after you've kind of scanned them all, you will actually start to get titanium and stuff from them, so that is always good to have. If you're kind of lacking on a material and the kind of next tier of stuff to make that, like, hey, if I need some silver or if I need some gold, kind of go outside of your boundary of where you are kind of sitting. The game very much urges you to kind of push that, like, your safe space to an extra longer range. So that item that you need might just be right around the corner. On the topic of that, keeping food well supplied is always important. However, food like melons and stuff like that, fish will go bad if you kind of just hold on to it for way too long. While there are enemies in this game, you cannot directly kill them. You do get items that can kind of impede them. You'll get decoy rockets, gas bombs, and a stasis rifle later on, which will kind of freeze them in place, which is also good for fishing. And you get a grav orb, which is actually suck stuff into it, and you'll be able to kind of pick them off from there. While exploring, I do suggest bringing food and water, but not too much because you definitely will want to pick up materials and stuff like that. And one of the first upgrades you're going to want to get is a better O2 tank so you can stay out longer and stay under the water longer, because while you're in most of your vehicles, you can't really pick up too much stuff, so being able to get out of there real quick and get back in is fun. On top of that, keeping with you a repair tool as well as a scanner always is pretty much essential. So always have food, water, repair tool, and your scanner, and you're usually really good to go. On the topic of kind of stretching out and going further around, you really want to make a home base where you can always go back to and have like your moon pool where you can upgrade stuff, and kind of a place where you can kind of return to and relax. And once you get that settled down, if you get a bed, you can actually go and sleep in it and pass by the nights, which are pretty dark in this game. Even with lights and lanterns like that, it is very easy to be kind of snuck up on. And luckily, most creatures will make a very angry noise before they come after you. And there are some pretty nasty beasties in this. If you do want to kind of make smaller outposts, it is a good idea. Making them at different waypoints and adding a beacon, which is always easy to kind of see, like, hey, these are what I have, what do they mean, and I can color code them in your journal. Speaking of journal, that's where most of the story is told. There is some environmental storytelling, and I kind of touched that on my quick taste video. But if you want to kind of advance it and kind of know where to go, checking the information in the journal is the best thing to do if you are kind of like, hey, I have absolutely no idea what to do at all. Returning it to base building, like vehicles, it does follow the same rule of, hey, the lower you go, the more crush there is on vehicles, so you want to make sure that the integrity of what you're building stays high. When you add an extra section to a building, the integrity will go down. You can counter that by making bulkheads and stuff like that. If you get below a certain integrity, it will start to leak, and you'll have to go around with your repair tool, and it can actually just fully fill with water and kind of just give you an entire bad day of a base just utterly filled with water that doesn't return oxygen or stuff like that. Those smaller bases, you can, if you make them high enough, or these little outposts, if you make them high enough up, you can just put a solar panel on them. Or by the time you're getting to those lower zones, transporting resources down via your Cyclops is not too terrible. So you can make a nuclear reactor, bioreactor, or if you're deep enough, you can actually make a thermal reactor. As you go through the areas, it will get more dangerous, but this game very much does tier the items that you're getting and what you're using into a point of like, hey, you need to go and explore the Aurora. It has radiation leaking from it, but by now you have these items to make a lead-lined suit. So you're never going to get stranded. You might just have to, like I said before, push your safety bubble once in a while. So now that we're a little bit into it, I am going to give you a slight spoiler that's going to make your life so much easier. One of the hardest things in this game is producing food and water and stuff like that. Once you get maybe a sea moth or even a sea glide, if you look at the Aurora, and this is a spoiler, if you follow the point of its engines, behind there is a kind of a island with a habitats and stuff on it. If you really want, you can set up your base there, or you can kind of enjoy the rewards by scanning stuff there, which is, one of them is a plant bed, which you probably saw outside of my base as we kind of flew past it, of, hey, you can actually plant stuff here, and you'll actually get melons and other kinds of renewable resources, which you actually can collect and plant. To collect those, though, you don't actually hit A on them. You actually have to hit them with a knife to collect seeds, and then you plant them, and it's a self-renewing resource. These plant beds can also be put onto your Cyclops. So if you're kind of floating around underwater, you will have food and stuff like that. But just the main points: collect all you can early on, watch your food and health, standard normal survival stuff. But I don't want to get too spoilery into it, so I'll dip my toe into a little bit. Maybe you know most of this stuff, but later on, always keep tablets on you if you know what I'm talking about. You know, if you are where I'm at, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Always keep them on you. They unlock a form of fast travel, let's say, teleportation. So that is always good to have. And if you're ever, again, I can't emphasize this enough, getting those plant beds early on is pretty great. For whenever you see a wreck, scanning it, or at least getting up into it and scanning anything that's in there is always great. Like, again, you can never have enough titanium and stuff like that. Later on, you'll get like a bed past the nights. That's not the only fun thing you get. You get chairs. You get you can get a coffee machine. You can get like a little snack machine, which will give you food back, but it takes a lot of, it lowers your water levels and stuff like that. So hopefully these tips kind of help you out. It's a lot of stuff that I really wish I had known really early on. I am loving this game so much, and I plan to keep making strides in the game and playing more until I've beaten it. But this is Subnautica. It is out of game preview, and hopefully these tips have helped you. If you have any more, please put them in the comments. If you have any suggestions for videos or any questions, feel free to ask. I'll check the comments and all that kind of stuff and reply as I can. Any pro tips you want to add, please shout them out and get them in there. But to rehash, hey, get that food planner. I have to say that's probably the most important one there. Keep as much titanium on you as you can. Always have a repair tool, a scanner, and food and water, and you should be pretty good to go. It's always just about going a little bit further outside your safety bubble. But I am ZeroJD. This is the XBLA Fans channel. This was Subnautica. I'm very much loving this game. I know I've said this so many times, but thank you so much for watching our videos. Like, comment, subscribe. It helps us out. Share the videos if you want to see any suggestions for videos or any questions you have. Again, and ask them below, and I'll try to get to them. Thank you so much, and have a nice day.